All right, so let's get into some screen sharing because I think we want to get going here. We have enough technical issues here. All right, so you guys should see a little screen now, a little pop up here, right, of my screen.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So what we're going to talk about is a little bit about Velez. I have a color change chart here that I use quite often. So can you guys see this color change chart when I switch over? Just make sure that everything is working.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Looks good. So most of you are familiar with color change. If you've spent any time with Revan, if you've spent any time in the MFT community, if you spent any time with me, we look at color change differently. The way that I look at color change a little bit differently. The guys that I work with look at it a little bit differently. And so we're going to talk a little bit about those differences. But the goal here is to help you to see some things that maybe could, get you earlier entries, help you understand better, some other tools that might help you hold longer, get more R, take a little bit more relaxed approach to trading, right? Because trading can be really stressful, and that creates a lot of mental challenges that we have to overcome quite often. Now, those of you who are trading Velez, and this is where you can come off mute as long as we're not like doing some major echo. Velez, I love the Velez approach, right? And so it's very simply. Anybody want to explain it? Is Vincent our resident Velez expert here? I don't know if he is. I don't think Vincent.
I don't think he got in.
Okay.
He didn't manage to get in.
He didn't get in. You're out. You're out, Vincent. So the 200 moving average is this is a moving average crossover system, and you're looking at the 200, the 20, and the 8. And then Velez has an approach for execution where he's looking at specific bar patterns and looking at a takeover from one color to another. So if you're looking long, you're looking for a bull takeover of a prior bear bar. And of course, there's some alignment aspects around the moving averages, and it's a very simple approach to trading, as many of you've kind of found as you've embraced it. So for all of you awesome Velez experts, color change people, okay, tell me what are some of the challenges that you run into trading this particular approach? What are some of the challenges? Let's talk about some of the challenges. Are there any?
Take profit areas.
Take profit. Yeah. What else? Anything else? Is that the only thing? Come on. I know there's more. Anyone from the chat?
I haven't seen anything. On YouTube, though, they're not seeing the charts. Same.
Oh, that's because, okay, I see what's going on. Yeah. All right, so let's do this. Let's do over here. Don't worry, guys. I got this. Boom. All right. Come on, there's more than this. Oh my gosh, this is the best system in the world. There's no problems other than taking profit. How about chop? Does anybody get caught in chop?
Yeah, chops.
Right? Like, like sometimes the moving averages, they cross and then they cross again and then they cross again and then they cross again, right? So you've got the chop aspect of it, right?
This then goes in line with fake outs. They're going to follow through.
Yeah.
So entry positions.
Yeah. You get some fake outs, right? Not a drastic number of challenges, but enough challenges that could really skew your results and maybe, cause you to take on a risk management approach that, long term might be a little bit challenging. Like I realize that a lot of traders trade, hey, I'm going to get my 1R, I'm going to get my 2R. And I think that can be a very profitable way to trade. It's also a good approach to maybe take a look at this and say, hey, how can we solve some of these things? Like, how can we, how can we better identify targets that give us a higher risk reward? How can we do something that's going to help us to maybe eliminate chop? These are filters. And when we talk about building a system, we always want to take our base edge and set of rules and figure out, okay, what can I apply to this to increase the R, to increase the profit factor associated with it, right? And so I think Oliver Velez is great. I think everything you guys are doing is probably really awesome. So let me just share with you some things that we've done to address some of these kind of core issues, right? So here we have the Oliver Velez approach. We have mashed up really two different systems. So the other system that we trade is a system that is called the data flow trading. Okay, it's a totally unique and different way to trade from technical analysis. We have indicators, but they're not like the kind of technical analysis indicators that you think about. What we do have is we have a database of about 16 years worth of data. So we go back to about 2008. And we look at what's called the DR and the IDR ranges. So these are the defining range and the implied defining range. If you go on YouTube, you can find a guy named The Master, and he teaches this DR, IDR concept. Okay, it's a really great concept because what you do with it is you have an opening range for the day, and then we have data that tells us the highest probability of when we should enter in terms of specific times, where we should enter in terms of specific retracements, and where we should actually target in terms of taking out profits. And when you look at 16 years worth of data, what you end up with is a lot of patterns that repeat themselves over and over and over again. And so these targets for us become very reliable. These retracement zones become very reliable. The downside that we found to DR, IDR, we actually found this in March. So this was kind of an interesting thing. So what we were doing prior to March was we would have, I'll give you an example of what this might look like. So we have a tool here. Let me see if this shows up. Okay, yeah. So we would have a tool here like this. Okay, these are our time zones. Okay, so these are the times that we could enter a trade, this time zone and this time zone. And then these are the levels where we can enter a trade. So we can enter here, we can enter here, we can enter here, or we can enter here. Okay, those are our levels. All right. And then what we found happened in March is that we kept getting swept past our levels. So we were entering limit orders. So you could place a limit order here, or you can place a limit order here. And what was happening is we kept getting swept back, and then the price would go. It was just really volatile in March. And so we started looking at, hey, how do we kind of make this system better? This is one of the downsides of the system, is really pinpointing. Like, we have the general idea of timing and where. And for a long time, we were holding to these levels. And now it's become a question of, well, how can we get even better? How can we get better risk reward out of this? And how can we actually get better placement of our stop loss? How can we really time the momentum of this move that needs to go, that we want to see it go? Okay, how can we time that even better, right? And so that was kind of the impetus for this. Now, the second thing, and this is available to everybody, so this is absolutely free for all you guys, is I have this indicator called the CC alert. So it's a color change. It's just, it's more than just the moving averages, but it's got the moving averages. You've got the change of the slope, but it's got one other really cool feature, which is the concept of what we call DIBS, directional imbalances. And is Seth on? I think Seth made it on. I think didn't Seth do one for NinjaTrader? So I think we have a DIBS indicator for NinjaTrader. Thanks to Seth, that's his. So you can contact him. Sorry, Seth, put you on the spot. The DIBS are awesome for determining ways to enter a trade before we necessarily have the full color change taking effect. In fact, today in ES, I think I just saw this. I was just flipping through as an example. So when you take a look at the color change as an example, and we have our DIBS on here. Didn't I see some DIBS here? Some DIB entries? Yeah. Okay. All right. So there's a couple of DIB entries. So the DIBs are characterized by these little circles. Okay, so this is when you have a bearish DIB, which means for us, we can actually enter early. We don't have to wait for a full takeover of the color change bar. Now we actually had that here, so you can enter on this. I think you guys can see this, right? So you can enter here for sure. But if you miss that, we end up getting this DIB right here, which is where our little dot is. So that's an entry right there. That's a possible entry. You may have taken this one. That one didn't work out. If you're still looking short for whatever reason, right? And in our group, we had reasons to continue to look short, even though the moving averages aren't quite lined up. If you were looking short, that's a DIB entry. I thought I saw another DIB entry here later today. Didn't I see one later? Boom, 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 boom. I thought there was one as we were coming back down. So we have these DIBs, though, as an indicator that help us to actually get in a little bit early. And you'd be surprised at the number of times where we get a really nice setup, and only because of the DIB are we able to actually get that really nice, crisp, perfect setup with a really great risk reward associated with it. So when you're in this indicator, you can turn on the DIBs here. Failed DIBs are when it starts to form a DIB, but it actually doesn't. So sometimes that does happen. So you might be anticipating that a DIB is forming and try to get in, and then you get kind of stuck where it doesn't complete, right? So that does happen. So this is a great indicator for kind of some of these earlier entries. So put them on your chart, take a look, and I don't know, my guys love the DIBs, right? I don't know if you guys, any of my guys who are working with DIBs, feel free to kind of put in the chat, kind of what your experience has been with them so far. It's been really great so far. So when we are looking for kind of bigger targets, one of the challenges with the Velez approach is there's not really a strong concept around bigger picture context, unless you're moving up into maybe a 15-minute chart, for instance, or maybe a 5-minute chart. And so the question is how do we get reliable targets that we can kind of bet on over and over and over again? And that's what the DR IDR system really gives us. So what I want to do, and Brock, this is where you come into play. We're going to go through and we're going to just kind of from May 1st, we'll just do like 2-3 weeks. I don't know, however much people can tolerate. And we'll just take a look at what the indicator says. Is there a color change entry? And then what kind of trade do we have in place if that was possible? All right, so we're going to do a little bit of live back testing. Any questions so far? Dan, okay, so hang on, let me get some of these questions in here first. So, okay, post a link.
Yeah, there were a couple, but you seem to have dealt with them.
Yeah.
But go feel free to look through them. Yeah.
Actually,
Dan had an interesting one.
Yeah, let me talk about Dan's question about the position one, right? So we don't position one is a contextual framework for the color change approach, right? It's for Velez's approach. And it's kind of a way to say, hey, like let's avoid getting in a chop or anything like that. It's kind of the best case of how do we avoid any of the mess associated with the moving average strategy. And we do that by making sure that we have this alignment between the moving averages. The reason that our group is able to get sometimes a lot of R out of a trade, and we're talking 3 to 5 R with our time and price trades, but 7 to 9 R on our transition trades, is because we're using a different contextual approach. So what the DR IDR system does for us, which is so which is where it excels in helping to define context. It helps us to define directionality. It helps us to define key levels, both major and minor levels where we expect turns. It helps us to define a lot of the contextual stuff. And so a lot of times we're taking these color change trades when we don't have full position one alignment, but we have high confidence, high probability trades with very big targets associated with them because of that. And so we're not using the moving average crossover in the same way. You know, maybe we'll give a nod to it here and there as a reference, but we're using the DR IDR as a contextual framework for us to decide kind of the major areas that we need to get into. And then we're using the Velez color change, the very specific bar patterns with our DIBS to get a very specific entry. Does that make sense, Dan? Hopefully that was clear. It'll come clear when we talk about this a little bit. When do you consider 20 SMA? Okay. Yeah. So I think that answers the question about when do you consider the 20 SMA too far above the 200 when you stop taking color changes. I think hopefully that addressed that, because again, it's a different contextual framework. Yes, the recording will be posted. It's up on, since this is going to YouTube, it'll be up there again. And then anything over on YouTube. DIBS are awesome. Okay. Let's see. Oh, the color change. So this indicator, the CC alert indicator, it's private. It's open, but it's private. So it's just, if you come into the Discord, we have a link from the Discord where you can just grab it from TradingView. It's not going to show up in search, unfortunately. So when you get it, bring it into your TradingView. Make sure you favorite it so it's easy to find for other charts that you put in. All right, cool. All right, Brock, we're going to put you on the spot.
Sounds good. Taylor, I don't know if you want to, just before you do this, looks like the guys found that if you go to the server, there's a slider bar where you can change the user limit from up to 99. I don't know if you want to try to do that first or if we just want to jump into it.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Christian posted a screenshot in our group channel. It's like in the overview settings, and there's a user limit slider bar.
Okay, just in my overview server settings, and then user limits.
Yep.
Safety. Hang on a second. Integrations. Auto mod. Wait, which one is it?
Under overview, it just looks like it's under one called user limit.
I know. I saw one earlier, but I think it was somewhere else. Let me just switch through each of these. I'm not seeing the.
I think he said it was in his. He has a server where he has admin rights, and yeah, that's where he saw it. He's just playing with it.
Auto.
Yeah.
Okay. Bands, enable community, server subscription.
He says he just sent you a message too. In case that helps.
Yeah, hang on.
Okay.
Overview. I don't have a slider there. I have a slider in the room itself.
Sure.
I did have a slider. You guys are so awesome for being patient. Hang on. Overview. General. Oh, and the voice channel. It's in the voice channel settings. Okay. All right. So let me come here. Voice channel settings. Boom, 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 boom. Slow mode. Age restricted content. Bit rates. User limit. Boom. Oh my. It was set to infinity though. That's what I was not. That's why I didn't move it, because it was already set to, you know, whatever the unlimited number was. But I guess maybe set it to 99. Maybe more can come in. All right. Okay. So let's take a look at this. Let's see how much are we.
Sounds good.
All right, which indicator are we going to use? We're going to use the TX indicator for the zones.
That's the one I've been using. Yeah.
Okay. And Brock,
So
tell
I have
everyone a little bit about yourself and how long you've been doing time and price stuff. This is called time and price. We call this the time and price setup. We have several setups. This is the setup that gets us usually between roughly, like, what would you guys say, like 3 to 6 R, you know, generally?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds right to me.
Okay.
But yeah, for me, I've only been really looking at it hard for the past 2 weeks. So I'm very fresh, new eyes with this.
Yes, I love it. Fresh. That's cool.
So bear with me.
I know, that's great. All right, so we should probably, do we want to go, like, we don't have to go in replay mode, I think, but let's, we can go into replay mode and make that a little bit more challenging, but we'll do that for the next one. So I'll put replay on here for the next day, since we've already kind of seen what this day looks like. So, and this will be good because then we can kind of talk through what we're looking for. So with this system, what we're looking for is after 10:30, we're looking for a close below the edges of the range that were created. Okay, that's our signal that we can start looking for that direction of trade. So in this case, we have a break of the low, which means that we can start looking for a short trade to trade. Okay, and that trade could happen in this block. This is a lower quality block, and this is kind of a late move type block, right? And so each of these is traded maybe a little bit differently. But okay, so if we're here, and then this will be tricky, but this is our color change screen. Okay, so this is our area right here where is it better if I do this? So we confirm, we call this confirmation short. And so would you be taking this as a comeback entry right here, Brock?
I would try for a comeback entry on that. Yeah, I wouldn't. Okay. Yeah. I think the stop's too large just to jump in.
Yeah, and so the reason is because we came up into this zone right here. Okay, over here, we came up into that zone. And so we have a doji, and then we have a big break, and then there's a comeback right to here. And I don't necessarily take these color change off of a doji. I like to see 2 dojis and then a break, but we'll go with what Brock wants to do. All right. So that's
see how much we can lose.
13R trade and your first loss, Brock.
Yep.
All right. But 13R trade.
This gives me a chance to ask a question that I was curious of. So with those zones, are we looking for the trade to be in the zone, or as long as it just goes back and kind of touches the zone?
The trade doesn't have to be in the zone. We want to see a rejection somewhere around the zone, right?
That's what I thought. Okay.
The idea behind the zones is that the data tells us that we're going to have a max retracement here, right? We shouldn't go too far outside of this zone. And once we kind of go outside this zone, then we have to look for another zone for maximum retracement. Okay, so These are our max retracement zones. What we did, one of the things that we did for you so that you guys can understand this, is that we made our zones bigger. So the original approach is pretty much more narrow zones. So really we just have these 3 right here, and there's overlap, right? And so this is a totally valid trade depending on either approach that you want to take. But we decided to make the zones a little bit bigger since we're using the color change approach for our execution, so which works really great. Okay. All right. So I wouldn't necessarily have taken that one. This is not a color change type of kind of approach that I would take, but that's okay. And then we have this up here. There's nothing to do up here. You don't really get a color change event. We don't take DIBS on, the second or third bar. The DIB really would have to show up here. If there is a DIB that showed up right here, that would be absolutely an entry for us right there. So that's a no-go. Okay. All right. Who's keeping score? All right.
I'm sure somebody will keep me honest.
Let's keep score. So -1. Okay. -1. -1. And then let's move forward. All right. So we don't need to do anything until after we get confirmation. So now that we have confirmation, This is where it gets really hard because I don't have replay on both screens. Okay, so we have confirmation here, Brock. And then you notice, Brock, that we have a tap.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we have a rejection from a level, which means that we can do what?
Can look for an entry.
Okay. All right. So
Color change entry.
all right. So if we're here, boom, let's move this forward. Okay. So then it's this bar. Okay. So this bar right here is that one. This is precarious. Okay. This is our tap back right here. So do you take this or do you wait to see if there's maybe a deeper retracement? Is this a color change?
Yeah, I mean, I think I might have been intrigued, especially with the failed dib there, just because I've been watching for those more. So I might have maybe at half my contracts, but I would be waiting for a deeper retracement on this.
What about you, Ryan? Would you take this?
Yeah, I think we're holding the 8, and that's a full color change. I'd be inclined to take that one.
Okay, so reasons to take it are we have tested the edge of our zone and rejected. We have a color change, and it's Wednesday. Brock, does that change your mind? It's Wednesday, 10:30.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I would be more inclined to take it at this point. Yeah.
We are really aggressive with CL on Wednesdays. Why are we aggressive with CL on Wednesdays? Inventories. Yep. So this we'd be looking at a trade that looks something like this, right? So what we're looking for, since we had this kind of sweep down, one approach with color change, you guys all know this, is kind of the tap back. So we expect to tap back possibly here. You can also just get in right away. So we'll put the tap back there. And then we have a gap down to our mode level. All right, let me talk about these levels. Why are we targeting these purple zones here? One of you guys want to explain what these are?
Those are based on the data. Those are our maximum extension zones. So we have the mode and the median.
Yeah.
Mode being the average extension for that day and that pattern.
Anything to add, Brock?
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's based on the data that we have, the 16 years of data. So yeah, same.
Yeah. So just one correction: mode is not the average. Mode is the most. Yeah, it's the most frequent level that shows up in the data, and then median is the exact 50%. Okay, so you could do this, and then you could trail until you get down to here, right? This is a pretty good one. If we have a loser, right, then we can reset for maybe a deeper pullback here or up into here, right? So this is a 7R trade. Let's see what happens. So it's looking good. It's looking good, looking good, looking good. Boom, 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 boom. Hang on, it's going to hit our target. That would really suck if it didn't. There we go. Boom, target reached. A lot of times we front run our target by a few ticks too. So it's possible we might have been out with this one, right? So we'll chalk that up, 6.89 if you want to get precise, or 7R if you just want to keep it kind of loose. What's our number? What are we at?
6R now.
6R. Nice. Yeah. Good trade. Nice movement. Really perfect. So boom, boom, boom. I don't even know if we got a second. This was another color change here that we could have gotten into as we're kind of working our way down. This is one of the also really great things about this approach is that when you are confident that the move is not done, right? We know we have quite a bit more room left to go. Then we can take things that are maybe a little bit more aggressive, right, on pullbacks, right? So if we slapped another, let's say we added right here, that's our color change right there, right? So we added right here. This is going to be pretty cool. And then we're going for the same target. That's another 6R on top of that. Using the same targets, right? So because we have an assurance of our data telling us, hey, this is most likely the highest probability of where this price is likely to go, then we can do a lot of really cool stuff with that. Okay, don't include that though. Let's not include that one in our numbers. We're just going straight up, easy breezy.
I'm not doing ads yet anyway, so.
Yeah, not yet. Not yet. When you're up like 5R in a trade and you've got more room, you've got a lot more options available to you.
Yep.
All right, so let's take a look. Okay, maybe we got a dud day. Oh no, how about that? Okay, this is going to be interesting. What are you going to do here, Brock?
And it tapped back to the box. Looks like it came back into the box. Rejected. Yeah, I'd be looking for. Oh, but it hit the mode already.
Yes. So we do have rules. We have certain rules that we follow. One rule is when it hits the mode, as it comes down without doing a pullback, then it's kind of like your choice. Like you have a choice of either, maybe you can go in at half, if you want, but you want to be careful because the mode is the most frequently hit extension. And that means that might be it. And so you want to be a little bit more cautious as you look for an entry. So we actually did, so we came down, we came up into this zone, right? We come back up again. I'm curious. We're gonna look at this and see if there was any color change stuff going on here. Let's see. Where am I? All right. So that's the low. Okay. Do we have a color change? Nope. Okay. So now we actually break through all the way up to this upper level. So the fact that we hit the mode, we hit this upper level. How are you feeling about this, Brock?
Yeah, at this point, I wouldn't be looking for a trade. But
not looking for a late trade like this?
I mean, I think just for me, I once they hit kind of that mode, like when I trade the box as well, like if it gets closer, hits the target, I'm playing it a lot more conservative right now. But that's just my rule. So
I'd feel a lot better if the median.
I'm still.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You're still what?
I said I'm just still. I watch them. I draw them. So that I feel like with me learning, I play it more conservative. Yeah. That's just my style. So
yeah. Well, also like you're expecting, okay, maybe we hit the mode again and that's it. Maybe we form a new low. So there is a possibility of getting a new low. The next target is all the way down here. So that's quite a bit, and while I talk a lot about big R, there's reasonable big R too, right? So let's say that we got something like this, looking for 14R trade. I don't know, guys. That's a little optimistic. I mean, it happens for transition trades, but for time and price, it's a little bit outside of the kind of what we're thinking. So let's see what happens here. We came down and then we came back up. So probably good choice to sit on that for context reasons. If we had taken something here, let's see. We had this kind of weird color change here again. Again, the doji. Brock, pay attention. Like this is what I was talking about, Brock. Like I don't like the big bars after a doji. I'd rather see two dojis and then a break. But those of you guys are taking color change stuff, I'd love to hear your opinion on how you handle dojis. If anyone has an opinion. I'll answer Dan's question. So do you take the color change on the break of the previous candle body, or do you wait for it to close the break of the previous candle and enter on the next candle? I have to think about okay, so hang on. I have to think through your question and make sure I get your question right. Do you take the color change on the break of the previous candle body? Yeah. Yes. Or do you wait for... okay. In other words, if we break the candle body, so let me just give an example here. Okay. In this example, if we had broken the candle body, but this candle hadn't closed yet, are you saying like, would you take it me, no. Always wait for the close. Always wait for the close. So I would wait for this.
Unless there's a dib.
Go ahead.
Unless there's a dib.
Well, even still, I would have to wait for this to close, and then
the
dip would be on the next candle, right? So I'm always like, I'm never taking, I just wouldn't automatically take the break. The only exception I have is when I have like a double doji up here. Like if this other bar was a doji, then I could take the break of one of the lows of the dojis. That's kind of how I do it. Enter when it breaks immediately, or wait. Yeah. I wait till after the candle. Yeah. 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 Well, for me, even if it closes at the same, if this were to close right here at the body, I would take that. If I have all the context stuff, right? Right now none of the context stuff is in my favor here. So this isn't something, I wouldn't take this, because this candle right here breached this is the last retracement level we have, and it breached up into the next level. So, for me, from a time and price perspective, the context isn't there to take, even if this one had closed below, it would probably be a hard sell for me to take that. Right. Because I'm combining the two. Okay.
So can I ask this question real quick about the color change as far as using these levels? I know that on this particular example, it doesn't break the DR range. Are we looking at color change specifically on that DR break for our trade, or are we looking for a color change just after that initial balance?
You mean, well, it breaks it here.
Right. So I just want to point out, if we're trading the Velez style without, I guess this is kind of where my discretionary kind of comes in with this. If you look at the first 3 bars of that morning for CL, the 2 bars right after the first bar, that's your elephant bar. You would consider combining those 2 bars.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, it does continue on down. You get a break with your retracement. Now, at that point, you're at the 50% midline of that initial imbalance.
Yeah, right here.
Right there, as you get that color overtake, because you're at that 50% push back up if you consider those 2 bars to be your elephant bar, that color change after the 3 red bars going into that after initial balance is set, that's your entry all the way on down to the break of the DR.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know it's a little bit outside of the realm of trading it after you get that break of the DR, but it's applicable.
Yeah. Yeah. So just really quick. So let me just kind of bring this up. What day was this, by the way? What day? It's Thursday short. So we have this concept of pre-confirmation data here. So what you're defining is another setup for us that we have. I wasn't intending to talk about that particular setup because it gets, I don't want to get overly.
Yeah, sorry. I know it seems a little discretionary, but that's what I see when I look at it.
Yeah.
But I apologize if that kind of threw a curveball in there.
No, it's great because it's a perfect way to kind of describe how you have this imperfection with what you see with the moving averages, right? It's like, it's a bit choppy. You're like, oh my gosh, this is choppy. Like, I don't know about this. And you've got, the 20 went up and then it down and then up again, and you're floating above it. And it's like, yeah, I can't take this until I have position 1 as an example, right? This is a really good example of this. Well, however, like we also have data that tells us, hey, we're going to get, these pre-confirmation windows. And I think we ended up, 11 to 11:30 or something like that, right? I don't remember what it was, our 10:45. I don't remember what our thing looked like, but like we have pre-confirmation data that says, yeah, we shouldn't go past, like the 7-8 node here or the 4-5 node here. I don't even know if I've got the right data up for this because I got to look at it a little more closely. But you're talking about like this being the midline. So this is that 5 level, this is the 6 level, this is the 7 level. If the 7 level is like the maximum level that we're going to go before we confirm, we have what's called a pre-confirmation setup. And so we actually have windows right here where we say, okay, between the 4 and 7 level, like we can trade as soon as the 1030 starts, we can start trading and looking for a trade right here. So contextually, I have 3 possible trades right here. So let me show them to you. Okay, so we've got this one, which is an actual color change event, right? This would qualify for what we would characterize. Actually, I think I got 4, right? I guess this is another one, right? So you could take this one. If you miss those 2, you're really, really slow. Then you've got a DIB entry right here. And then you have another DIB entry right here. You got 4 shots to actually take this trade. And to your point, we're targeting, what would be like, actually, as soon as this confirms, our data would show up the mode. We target the mode on this. So if we were taking this trade, let's say that you got in late, you took this, this DIB entry right here. You can put your stop loss. I don't know where you would put your stop loss. You could put it here if you want. And then you're targeting, that. Maybe that's too much R. You guys, we can't handle too much R. So why don't we do that? Okay, there's 4 to 5 to, upwards, depending on where you put your stop loss, 8R right there.
Yeah.
So, so we have these pre-confirmation trades where, first of all, we have another set of data that tells us whether we're going to confirm long or short. And then we have data that says before we even confirm, we should actually not go past certain levels, right? So I think whatever you're doing is awesome, like recognizing this as an elephant bar and so forth, having the data to recognize, the timing of it, which is after the 1030, and then kind of the data level that kind of gives you that permission of like, hey, it really shouldn't go past this level anymore. Oh, actually, that would have been a stop loss, huh? Because we got out there. We would have had to put our stop loss way up here, which is okay because that's your original stop loss. You guys have to keep me honest here. So maybe you did that. Maybe you took 1R and got in again there, and you took that. And you're good to go. So yeah, Todd, thanks for bringing that up because there are other setups with this stuff that we're looking at. And this is a really good example of where, something that could look really choppy and ugly with the Velez, we have a lot of clarity because we have data. Yeah. Appreciate that. Cool. All right. Moving on. I have no idea what our number is right now. So you guys, no idea.
I think I'm still at 6R.
You're still at 6. Okay. And then I'm like,
at least for me.
And I'm jumping ahead here. All right. So let's do this. All right. And I keep jumping ahead too. All right. So we have confirmation, right? And it's Friday, just so you know, Friday confirmation. We have nothing to do. Okay. Now, what do we got?
Looks like it came back into the zone.
All right. So you're stalking a short?
Yep.
Stalking a short. Okay. And then let's do this. I'm trying not to cheat, guys. I'm trying really hard not to cheat. Okay. So we come back up here. This doesn't look like a color change, right?
Yeah, correct. Yep.
Okay. No DIB, no color change. All right. Ooh,
Yep.
That's weird. Would you take this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would.
You would or no?
I would because of how my rules are set up.
Uh-huh.
To me, there would be a trend line drawn. It came back up to that trend line for a third tap, and my risk would be right on that trend line, and I would take that trade.
Yeah.
Looking at the 5-minute chart.
Okay. Cool. All right. So we take the trade. Stop loss above maybe the wick of that candle. Sound right?
Yeah.
There's only 3R available to the mode. That's really tight, and only 4.2 are available to the median. Okay, so let's see what happens here. I don't know about this one. This is a little tricky to me.
I don't know that I would have entered on based on the color change there, but yeah.
Boom. That's minus 1R. Todd, you're killing us. No, I'm just kidding.
I would have been out for sure on that one.
I'm just giving you a hard time. Okay, all right. So
You made it up on the last
come
trade.
up. Okay, sorry guys. I don't mean to cheat. All right, so this is kind of an edge case. We did kind of pop up, but we are kind of still in this area here. So like is this a color change right here? Could you take this
No.
as a color change?
No.
How about now?
Yeah. Now I get in.
Now you're in. Now you're in. In fact, we're in as soon as we see that dib. We can get in right here, and then we can get in right here, and then we can go for mode. You can just go for here if you're really conservative. This is a 5R trade. That looks a lot better, right? At 2R, we move our stop loss to break even. So let's see what happens. We come down. It looks like we're break even, right? We get 3R out of that trade. I think I just mentioned, right? Like we could target here if we're conservative. So maybe you take partials out. The reason is because these DR lines, these range lines, when you come back up this deep, you may only get back to these and then go back up. So I don't know. We can call that a break even there. We can even call it another -1 if we want. Boom, boom, boom. And then do we go? I don't know. Maybe we go. Doesn't look very good. Doesn't look like it really did much. But then we get another dib. Okay. So this technically you could actually take this also, because you see this green line here. We're still within a time zone where we could have taken this also if we wanted to. And I think that one ended up break even too, right? Did it end up break even? We take that dib. We take this right here. We're going for that. It's not break even until right there. Boom. That's heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. 3.6, 3.5R max on that one. Didn't hit our targets. All right, next one. Let's see where I'm at. It's kind of tricky to kind of navigate the 2-minute with this together.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. We have time constraints that are associated with this as well. This is a really late move, late entry. Thank goodness kept us out of this thing, whatever that was. I remember that day. You guys remember that day? I could not figure out what was driving that. Wasn't there an attack? I think there was an attack or something.
That's right.
Sorry, I skipped ahead too much. Okay. All right. So we have our levels up. Okay. All right. What's our red flag here?
We hit mode.
Yeah, we hit mode. So you want to be super cautious. That could be the move. That looks like it was the move. So since this came up with just one big bar in the 5-minute, this is most likely done, right? We're most likely baked here. There's not much to do. Okay, so we're going to be able to avoid anything, like we're not getting sucked into any color change up here because we have this big, this is on the 5-minute, you guys will recognize this is an elephant clearing bar. Okay, darn it. Keep moving ahead. Comes down, goes up, and then we fail. We have a failed. Go ahead.
Does that? So I mean, I'm not very familiar with CL, but I mean, wouldn't that be considered like a gap day that you're looking for, just because of the drop in price
A gap
from the previous day? I'm not sure how CL works. That's why I'm asking. Because we have a gap in the chart there.
Yeah.
So I mean,
We have gap levels here, then gap levels here. Yeah. We have an older gap,
I
this is a
mean,
fresher gap.
because you're basically at that point. I mean, it's set the DR range, and then basically, I mean, we would say that it basically pinpricked all the shorts, all the late shorts got in, it got back inside the DR range, and then it just ran for a gap fill.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it's hindsight, but if that's what you were looking for at the beginning was a gap fill, once it broke DR, got back into DR, I think that confirmation of that big elephant bar, which you described, that would be I'm getting in, and it never retraced more than 30% of that bar.
Yeah.
So you'd be looking for a straight gap fill at that point.
Yeah. One of the things about the DR IDR system that we have is because it's very reliant on data, right? So it's very reliant on stats. And so what it means is that when there's a confirmation to either the upside or downside, you can look at the stats, and usually there's about anywhere between a 70 and 80% probability that the price does not close on the other side of the DR. Okay, so that's one of the core principles of the DR IDR approach is once we confirm here, there's only about, a 20% chance where it will confirm back up here. Or in other words, where it closes above the DR. And so anytime we're thinking about, like, hey, I think this is going to fail, we don't have the probabilities on our side until after this event happens. And so for us, the better event, and I'm giving you guys generalities, there are some ways to get around that, but for us, the better event is, okay, what happens here, and then what kind of targets do I have on a false day? Because we have that data as well. I could probably look at our data on this day and tell you, kind of what our false day data look like, right? We probably have a target somewhere up here. So to that end, Todd, there's probably a way to get in, but I wouldn't be looking necessarily to get in here so much as I would be looking to get in after we kind of have this event here. Does that make sense?
I would definitely agree. You are risking quite a bit because, you get a pop straight up to your midline there. And, it kind of looks like a doji bar, the second bar after what we consider an elephant bar. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that bar.
You have this and this, right? This
right. If you're trying to minimize your stop, that would be your bar to get into to create, small risk.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not a high probability trade, but if your risk is small enough, in that case, that it wouldn't be a bad, but then we're getting discretionary as well. So I apologize.
Yeah, no, it's for you, it might be discretionary. For us, we'd be looking at the data. So I'd bring up this tool again, and I have an option to look at the false day data, and the false day data will tell me, normally it'll tell me when do we usually have the maximum extension, right? And so it's probably going to be actually, let's just look at this really quick. I don't know if this is interesting to everybody, but what day are we on? Tuesday. And so our max extension was about 4 to 5. Our max extension time was 10:45. Okay. So what this is telling me is that when we have false days, most of the times we'll have the maximum first extension it goes is at 10:45, right? And it will most of the time, or the highest number of times it'll go for the 4 to 5 level, right? And then it'll go back, it'll retrace back to the negative 2.0 level. So the way that I read this is and also here's the other piece of information. It's important. The median is 0.7 on the extension. So if I look at this, I'm going to slap this on here. 10s plus. Okay. So we actually went to, remember the 0.7 was the median. This was the 0.7 line right here. We went just below that 10:45, you guys remember 10:45 was the time. So that was right here, 10:45 to 10:55. We're 5 minutes off from that. I mean, come on. And then our target would be, if we kind of shift this up, what did I say, 1.0? Yeah, our target is pretty much close to this gap, okay? There might be other targets, like if I had monthlies on or something like that. So here we have, let me get rid of the drawings here for you guys. So we got too many drawings here going on. Boom, okay. So here we have a color change event. So if you're banking on, okay, I've got this false day, you know, we've confirmed false, we've come down here into this, I have everything lined up except my 200, right? Well, not everything lined up, but my 20's lined up. And I have a target that takes me from here, okay, and then here's you can put your stop loss here, you put it here, and my target is right to there. As an example, that's a 3.5 hour trade. 3.5 hour trade with good risk reward, decent, you know, understanding on your side of what's going to happen, and it just busts right through it. So minimum 3.5 hour on that one, but we're not writing that one down. Todd, you're surfacing all these trades. I love it.
Nice work.
Any other? Let's see. I'm just making sure. Okay, I'm just making sure there's no other questions. Okay. All right. Good. Cool. All right. Boom. 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 Let's go on to the next one. Okay. Dang it, man! I keep doing that. Brock's gonna fire me from having control here. Okay. All right, Brock. This was a really tough one, but kind of. I wish I could do this on Sierra chart. These bars build. All right, what happened? There's no surprise. All right, just explain what happened though. We have a confirmation.
Yep, so we confirmed and then we came back into the second zone there.
Yeah.
And rejected out of it.
Yeah. Now our old system, we would just have had a resting order probably right here, stop loss probably right here. New one, what we're hoping for is that there's a color change here. If there's no color change, we're not in, right? So let's see if there's a color change. Okay, so we do that, we do this, we come down, we do this, we do this, we do this. Do we have a color change?
We have a dib.
Yes. Okay, again.
And a failed dib followed by a dib.
Failed dib followed by a dib. I have a risk management rule where my minimum has to be around 10 ticks, or it has to be 2 ticks below. If it's less than 2 ticks, it's got to be 2 ticks below my level that I want, or 10 ticks. So just so you guys know, like the guys have heard me say this repeatedly, so I'm not cheating here. But you would have your entry here, your stop loss would be, normally it would be right here, but that's less than 2 ticks, so I've got to do it at 10. And then you've got your target is, what do you want to go for, mode or median?
I would go for mode, but
yeah.
Again, I'm conservative. So.
When we do back testing with this, we kind of settle on the mode. It's the most conservative approach. There's a lot of trades that keep going and trucking up to the median. So I think we can see this. Boom, 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 boom. There, all done.
Nice.
And that was how much?
7R.
7R. Okay. I don't think that. I think I remember this day. I think we were really surprised it didn't go to the median because it came so much above the mode.
Yeah, that's a good
what's
move.
your number? What's your number at?
13.
13. Okay. All right. 13. All right. Let's keep going. Let's go to the next day. I'm going to stop it right on time. Oh, yes. Almost. Okay. All right. Okay. So we have a very late confirmation. Okay, really late confirmation here. We have data for this, but the indicator's not going to render anything for us. So we could actually look at our data and see if there's something in here that would, you know, potentially get us in. But usually we have a cutoff time between 10:30 and 11:30. I just want to add a couple things too. One of the things I mentioned in the description was this approach is really great for in a couple scenarios. So scenario number one is, you know, if you can't be on the charts all day, kind of watching for setups, there is a really defined time period and time window where this stuff happens. So that's a good thing. The other thing, Ryan, you are, can you tell everyone a little bit about the ODR session, what the ODR session is?
So the ODR session is the London session. So for anyone in Europe, it's from it's London time is 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock open. These setups do, and we do have data for the ODR session. It doesn't move as much, but the setups do happen. We have another fellow trader, Christian, who's in Germany, and he trades a lot, and the ODR session as well. So it is worth looking at. The other thing is that the ODR session does help us to provide a lot of context for the RDR session and what could potentially happen as we go into the New York session. So we can use models and the data that gives us a good idea as to how the New York session will pan out.
Yeah. So the view you guys have, I haven't set to RTH, but when you set to ETH, you have the DR IDR indicator here, and like Ryan said, there's data for the ODR session as well, and there's a lot of traders that trade the ODR session and the RDR session together. They kind of balance each other out. Okay, cool. All right, let's do a little bit more. You guys can ask questions, so don't be shy to pop in, ask questions. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Okay, all right. What day is this? Oh, Friday. All right, so we have a wick confirmation. Do you want me to turn on the wick confirmation? Do you use that, Brock?
I'm looking at them, I think, just because I do it with the box.
Okay.
I'm more hesitant with them. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Well, you know, it worked out anyway. Are you looking for an entry?
Yeah, I mean, I was even going to say on that. Yes, I think I would be. Yes.
Okay. All right. And where are you going to target here? Because you're really close to the mode. You going to target the mode, or you going to target the median?
I mean, I think I'd look at what R I could get with the entry, but if I was really liking it, I'd shoot maybe more for the median if I wasn't able to get it with the mode.
Let's put a placeholder thing here. So like, let's say that, 10 ticks is kind of about where we tend to have this. So that's 2.1 there, and then there's 6.5. Also, we have, by the way, we're not limited to CL. We love CL in our group. Like, we eliminate a lot of the crazy new stuff that happens with ES and NQ. And so, but all this stuff, this data and stuff is also, we use it on GC. GC is not so great for time and price, ES, NQ. So just so you guys know, like we're not ES and NQ, we're not CL snobs where we look down on ES and NQ traders. It's just, we really like gold or oil and gold and how they move. So, all right. So here we're going to be kind of looking for a setup, right? So I don't even know where I'm at here. Boom. All right. Okay. So we come up here. It's a little bit tricky. Okay, so we kind of have a color change here. We're selling at the low. I love it. Hate selling at the low. We have another, and we have a dib, and we have this, but we have this dumb doji.
Yeah.
So
depending on what the stop looks like. On that with the dib, I might be more inclined to take it. So
All right, so we do something like that. And then you only have one R. It's just
Yeah, so no way I'd have to go for median. Yeah.
It's just too tight. I'm like, I think for me, I'd rather wait. I'd rather wait.
Yeah. It's not a great one.
Confirmation. Yeah, this is like not enough R. We like to measure to the mode at a minimum and get at least 3R to the mode if we can. 4R to the median. Ugh, that just seems not good.
Yeah.
All right.
Not worth it.
Oh, but here we go. We have another setup right here. Right. So then we have this. That other one didn't stop out, by the way. So if you notice, so if you got into this one, you're still in it. But this one has a bit better risk reward associated with it because it's just tighter, right? So you enter on the close of this. I have, what do I have? 8 ticks. So I got to go 1 extra tick. It's still like 2.3 R, but maybe you just go for it because you got 7 R there. So let's see what happens here. Boom, boom, boom. All right, you're at the mode. We want to keep going. Boom, 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 down to the median. I love it.
Worked.
Nice. Again, another beautiful example of the DIBS in action. You missed this, right? Even though we've kind of tapped the mode, we're still expecting a good chance of us hitting the median. So you have this DIB option to get you in, right? Again, we don't have to wait for the color change. We can get in with the DIB. This one would be as soon as the DIB shows up, you're in, you're right there, 2 ticks above the green bar, and then that's another 5R on top of it. Who loves the DIBS? We all love the DIBS.
My favorite.
What are you at now? I'm not keeping track. 20?
I had 13. I don't know that I would count these. If I count these, then we're another 7 on top. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a legit trade. I mean, the only question was, do you take the trade here or, again, I've been pretty clear. Like, I don't like these trades where we come off of a doji like this, and then we get this beautiful setup right here. So this is at a minimum, this is a valid trade. Let's bring this up. Let's just measure it at 6R instead. So you got 19.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I think that's fair. I think we're being fairly, conservative.
Agreed. Yeah.
Do you guys feel like we're cheating at all? Hope not.
I mean, Brock live wouldn't have gotten that, but Brock with coaching would have gotten that.
Brock's doing great. Brock is doing great. You're doing awesome. I love it. Okay. So here we go. We're back to here. Okay. What day is this? Oh, Monday. Okay. All right. But we don't even have so the challenge with us for this, and again, I don't mean to bring too many of our time and price stuff into this, right? It's not necessarily the point, but wick confirmation, we don't even have a full confirmation. A full confirmation is when the body closes. A wick is when, obviously we just only wick through. This is going to be probably tricky to take if it comes back into here. So without doing the full confirmation. So we'll see what happens. Still possible, still viable. Probably would take it to be aggressive anyway. If you're up 20R for the month, might as well. Right?
Yeah.
What do you think though, Brock? What are you feeling?
Yeah, again, I think I'd be looking at it just with wick confirmation, at least be looking at it. So if it gives me a setup, like you said, if I'm already up 20R, I'd be looking to take a trade here.
Todd, is this a juicy elephant bar for you to be thinking, dude, you guys are missing out on this move right here? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, that would be definitely one that you see the pullback. I mean, it's almost at that 50% on that wick. To me, it would be a no-brainer to take the color change, because if you start to break down past that, the only concern or reservation that I would have is the potential gap fill, but you have such a large elephant bar igniting that the gap wouldn't trump what we're doing. So that would, I'd be licking my chops on that pullback to that almost, 30 to 50% area.
Yeah. And look, you got a perfect color change here. You know, don't even need a dib. You've got everything in alignment. Position 1, first color change. It happens after the 20 turns green. This is totally a beautiful color change entry right here that you can take. So yeah, it's great. Nice. All right. So let's see what this holds for us. So 1030. So let's get over here to 1030. Okay, so we have this comes down, we come down, no color change, we come down, we're down into the lower zone, really into the lower zone, off of a wick confirmation. So Brock, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't think at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing, right? So this is, again, a great marriage between the two. Our old system would have had us at least get into this zone somewhere on limit order. We'd be out. But with the color change, it actually saves us an R right here. Right?
Nice.
We love it. We love the combo. The combo is amazing. Look at that. Boom. 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 What an ugly day. All right, a couple more. All right. Any questions coming through? Okay. All right, let's see here. Boom.
No questions yet.
Yeah, okay. I mean, this kind of was, it's Tuesday. I don't know. We had yeah, that's a wick confirmation. Didn't really go that far in. Okay, whatever. We might have missed this. Or maybe not. All right. Q Brock.
Yeah, I'd definitely be looking for a short here after it came back in, at least on that second pullback for sure.
All right, let's take a look. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, we come back up. No color change. Boom, boom. No color change. Boom. Here we have a color change.
Yeah, I'd definitely look at that. Yeah, I'd take that entry.
You take it?
I'd take it.
How about you, Todd? You taking it?
Actually, that one's kind of hard because I noticed that basically it refilled the gap from the previous day. So we're opening at the previous gap. Mm-hmm. So what was that, 2 days ago, that if you scroll back on the 5-minute chart?
Right here.
And yeah, if you ran that all the way back to the previous day, they actually opened back up at gap fill. And to me, I would need something more to confirm because it just dipped below that level. So I would have to wait, especially for something else on that 5-minute chart versus trying to hop in on a 2-minute. I couldn't just hop in on that.
Yep. No worries. For us, one of the things that we're trying to do is to simplify in a way where we kind of take out a lot of the kind of the discretionary decision-making stuff, right? Like it's like, I got to take it because it's in my zone and I have a color change event, right? Very like keeping the parameters and the filters to a bare minimum, right? And so it's going to cost us some R down the road, but it's also going to get us into some things that we would possibly talk ourselves out of as well, which is a big problem that we have as traders, right? We constantly talking ourselves out of stuff. So we do, you're right, we do have this kind of comeback. We have another gap down here. We have our median, we have our mode. We're at least 3R down here. Probably want to look at something like that. That'd be awesome if we got like a 7R trade here. So let's see what happens. And we're coming down again. We're coming down. And let's see if we can get all the way down. No. Was that break even? Yeah. Break even. It went 3R. 3R. So it worked for 3R. 3 lousy R. Who wants 3R? And then it goes.
Hey, if I'm trading the box, I'll take it.
Hang on. I actually, again, this is me jumping ahead. Okay. So we have a reentry rule. Don't we have a reentry rule? But I don't know if we have. Okay. Yeah, we do have a reentry rule. So if you are break even and we're still within the time window and at the level, you can re-enter, but it didn't get us anything either. Like I mean, unless you're targeting, unless you're really like, yeah, I just want 3R today, you'd have to do something like this. And then you're targeting this right here. It's not even, I don't even know if it's even worth it. Probably not even worth taking that, unless you could take it with the hope that you're going to come down, that to this median level. But then you'd end up being break even. So this looks like it was 2 break even trades or 1.
But that's all right. It was a good in-process day.
It was a good in-process day, Brock. You are spot on. Okay. I want to have like one more nice big winter day. And since it's Wednesday, why don't we just go ahead and, sorry about that. Hopefully Brock didn't see that.
I did not. You were too quick.
So we have, we love Wednesdays for CL, guys. Like, we love Wednesdays. Wednesdays are the best. So usually Wednesdays are the
unless
best.
They're holidays.
Yeah, unless inventories doesn't do anything. So 10:30, we get up, we come down, we have hit our level. Again, we want to be aggressive on Wednesdays, right? So Brock, you're probably looking long, right?
Yep. I'd be looking, yep.
You're looking long. Okay, so we do this. We do this. Please give us a color change. Please, color change gods, give us a color change. All right. We did have a color change, and then it went bad. All right, so actually, are you taking any one of these?
Yeah, I think I would have taken that one right there, yeah.
Same yeah. Right here. Yeah, that's a 1R loss on our books. Boom, 1R loss. Totally worth it though. Have no problem taking losses on Wednesdays because they will totally make up over and over and over again. So one of our rules is if we kind of have a loss at one level, we really want to wait until the next level gets breached. So I don't know if that happens. Let's see if that happens. Boom, 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 boom. So we actually do get breached. We're outside of time. So the only thing we've got here is we do have, kind of an elephant clearing bar here, or mostly clearing bar. And that's like your only play on a day like today, right? That's like your only play. I think I remember this day. I think we all kind of took it on the chin when we had this little wick down. Do you remember that, right?
Yeah.
Were you trading that day? I think I remember.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. I don't always get to see the time and price stuff in the afternoon.
Yeah. So the reason Wednesdays are so good, so if you're trading, if you're just trading Velez and you're like, hey, this is an awesome, elephant bar, maybe you come back below the 50%, and you can still go for the home run move because it's a Wednesday and there's so much volatility that often comes in with really big targets. So you could do that, and let's see if it actually pans out. Yep, there we go. So you could still snag a 5R trade out of that, even off of this big elephant bar, and looking at around 50%. I'm still looking at that.
I think Todd's going to start trading CL now.
He's thinking about it, right?
Like I said, I've seen so many gap fills just in the few that we've looked at. I'm like, that's my number one trade that I always look for is a gap fill. And normally in NQ, it usually hits within the max that I've seen is 5 days, but 90% of them are usually within a 3-day period. And I'm watching CL just gap fill, another gap fill. I mean, I'm going to have to start looking at it a little bit more closely to see if I want to consider that and add it to part of my trading.
Awesome. We lost your audio, or at least I can't hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear Taylor either.
I accidentally pressed a little button on my microphone accidentally.
There you go.
So hopefully you guys got to see, two things. So within our community, we have kind of the advanced path where we do time and price, we have data, we kind of trade this approach that is really effective for us in terms of going for, kind of bigger targets. But then also there's the DIB tool, which you got to see in action too, that can really help enhance maybe even just what you're doing currently. So I don't know where you're at in terms of your path, what you guys are, interested in learning or doing or whatnot, but you kind of have both avenues available to you. So, feel free to use the DIB stuff, to your heart's content. There's alerts on that CC alert indicator to kind of alert you when certain things happen. And I'm happy to take suggestions, from our community on how to kind of make that better if you want. And then, of course, you can talk to guys like Brock and Vincent and Robert and some of the others about, what it's like to be part of kind of this other stuff that we're doing. The merging with the Velez has been really great for us because it really provides a lot more clarity where we have a really good understanding of directionality, context, levels, and it's just kind of that precise timing aspect is what the Velez stuff has added to us. And so it's been a really, really happy marriage for us. We're really happy with it. Do you guys have anything to add for what we've gone through? All the stuff. Talking about my guys in the program.
I think I was just going to say, my 2 cents. I was doing the live trading desk and trading the Velez stuff. I'm a very new trader. This is like a year into trading for me. And I think what was always hard for me was just the context and understanding, should I be getting into this trade? Shouldn't I be getting into it? What I really enjoy about what Taylor's teaching is the context around everything, the data that's being provided helps give me more confidence, even though the data is not always right, but it's trading. Everybody's not always right with anything. So for me, the data really just helps give me that confidence that I need to jump into it. And the box is what I started trading. So it's been about 3 months now, over 3 months now. And that really just repeating that process over and over again. And as we talked about earlier, following my process, that's just really helped me with the new stuff that I'm learning with time and price and transition and everything else. So there's a lot that he's offering here that I think could help you if you're struggling with it.
Yeah. Brock, thank you so much for helping out last minute.
Yeah. My pleasure.
I didn't prep Brock. It's like, hey, Brock, can you do this thing? It's awesome. You guys have any questions? What do you want to know about? Any impressions?
You could come off mute now.
Yeah. I really kind of hammered that home everywhere.
So I do have kind of a question as far as after the DR is set with the box. I've noticed that there's like usually a couple. I know this is what you have up is the advanced setup. But I started to see like kind of that dashed line that's kind of like right on either side of the box. So if you go move your cursor all the way down, so the dashed line just outside the bottom of the DR range.
Oh, this?
Keep going. Yes. So I noticed that's on both sides.
Yeah.
What exactly is that a representation of?
Yeah, that's a time and price indicator for us. It lets us know that we can trade certain levels that wouldn't have been available to us before. So, one of the early rules is that we can only trade inside, like when price comes inside the IDR range until we hit the 05 level. And so I put that on for convenience so we know when price hits the 05 level. So I know I can trade stuff like this. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
That setting is here. So like if you don't need it, you can just get rid of it.
I love it because I actually sometimes I use it as a target price, believe it or not, on some of my setups. So that's why I was curious what exactly it was, because it seems I get a very good follow through whenever I take a trade to try to hit that first target.
Yes, it's actually really smart. There are some stats around the O5 level being a level that on confirmation, that's, like it's a minimum level that price tends to want to hit before retracing back. So you're actually on the side of some stats and some data that we have without even knowing it. So
interesting. Thank you, Taylor.
that's good. Good stuff. Yeah. Anything else?
There's a question in the chat.
Yeah, actually, thanks for bringing that up. The guys know I'm notorious for not promoting anything I do. They've gotten on me. Vincent's on to make sure that I probably say something. So, we do. So I do offer. I realize you guys get bombarded with all kinds of offers and things of, different options for you. You're leaving the MFT. I know Revan has a live stream many of you are part of, which is awesome. What I do is I coach you to consistency. So I don't care what system you trade, but I'm gonna help you trade that very well. If you aren't trading your system well, or if you're looking for, hey, I need to enhance this, and some of the other actual system stuff that you do can help me, then that's part of it too. So I decided, like, when MFT, there was a lot of complexity around MFT. So I had the Consistency Accelerator. There was profit share stuff with Patrick and our operations guys and a whole bunch of other stuff that just made it difficult for me to kind of price, the way that I really wanted to. So, I'm now charging going forward. It's $100 a month for everything. Like there's no multiple programs. You get everything from the Consistency Accelerator. You get all the data flow stuff. You get all of the tools I've built. And the guys will tell you, this is just one of the tools. The indicators are another tool. There's other tools that give you this 20 years or 16 years worth of data and that unlock a lot of setups. So we have a lot of setups that we trade that are unlocked here. So all that's part of it. All the mindset work that I do. I think you guys, if you don't know me, I kind of specialize around mindset and solving really tough mindset challenges. So all of it is part of it, just for one price. You can stay as long as you want. You can try it out for a month, and if it's not right for you, that's no worries. The community is free. There's parts of the community where you've got to be part of the Consistency Accelerator in order to kind of see some of the other stuff that we talk about. But otherwise, I want you guys to feel comfortable being in the free tier, like just being part of the community, talking about Oliver Velez, talking about your setups. You're going to hear us talk about some of these advanced setups too. And if you want to go to the next level, great. I'm happy to, continue the coaching journey with you guys. So yeah, that's what I do. I can share this page out. This will go up in the community for you. But yeah, if you want access to everything, yeah, that's what we're going to do. So thank you. Yeah. Appreciate it. I don't think I had that up on my YouTube. So those of you on YouTube didn't even see this page. Just looking at me. All right. What else? What else you guys got? Anything else? Questions?
Is that something, just to round that real quick, is that something they can sign up for right now, Taylor? And is that done through your website then rather than through MFT and stuff? I just got it done
last night.
Okay. So give you a minute.
Yeah, all this stuff with MFT is kind of thrown. It hasn't just thrown you guys for a loop. It's thrown, me for a loop. I'm sure Revan had to pivot and do a lot of stuff last minute too. So I love coaching, and I think one of the things you hear from the guys that coach with me is I'm very dedicated to you and to helping you become successful in what you do. So, if there's one, of all my failings, that is not one of them. I want to see traders succeed. I want to see you guys succeed. I really do hate the fact that 95% of traders lose. I think it's ridiculous that with all the resources and knowledge that we have in today, that we still have that horrendous number. And that's part of my mission. And I made that very clear to Patrick up front when I joined MFT, is like, look, this is a mission for me. This is for me to show that we can change this. And I think we're on a good path. I don't know. You guys have to tell me if we're on a good path, but I think the guys that are working with me and putting in the time and effort are certainly seeing the results.
Yeah, just going on the comment from Herwert, and we were saying that he's a pretty much priced action trader with adding Velez to it, and that's the great thing about these setups. And like you mentioned, we've just been through time and price and how Velez is helping us get in and out of that. And there are many setups at different times of the day. So whether you are trading European sessions or going into the New York session, there are a number of specific trades that the data gives us clear indication on and context on which way it's going to be going. So no matter which setup might suit you better, be it time and price or a transition trade or a box trade, the data gives us good context to help us make those decisions.
Yeah. Awesome.
For me, it's been a game changer.
Yeah. Ryan, these guys, I can't say enough about these guys who've put in the time, and I've coached people that haven't been willing to put in the time and effort, and there's a big difference. I say this, I'm not going to tell you that what you do with me is going to make you consistent. There's no way I can promise that ever. You make you consistent. And my job is to give you all the tools, all the training, all the coaching, all the support that you're probably not getting from a YouTube channel or from a book or from elsewhere. So that's kind of how I see my role. And these guys are good evidence of that because they're doing the work behind it. So awesome. All right. I've taken up a lot of your time. Thanks everybody for being here. Really appreciate it. You're in the community now. Reach out to me. I am responsive. So if you need any help, if any questions, anything like that, feel free to reach out. But thanks for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Taylor. You're awesome.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Taylor.